Welcome back, my rogues. Today's question is, what's a bone-chilling fact that you wished you never knew? Hope you enjoy, and check me out on Instagram. You have the same chance of dying in an earthquake as being shot by a toddler in California. You're not actually afraid of the dark. You're afraid of the possibility of not being alone in the dark. I had a friend in jail recently and he found out that one of the two pedophiles in there with him had been arrested because he had to call an ambulance after getting stuck in a 7-year-old girl. Fuck that. I already replied, but then I remembered another one. That in Africa, hundreds of men go to prison every year for raping newborn babies because there is an urban legend that having sex with a pure human being can cure an STD. What they did to Junko Furuta, it's disgusting what humans can do. At any given time there are about 100 serial killers operating in the United States. And nobody knows who they are, nor have they identified that pattern of bodies that would allow them to start investigating literally anything about Hisashi ETA, realizing I need to satisfy the curious. In the 90s there was a near-nuclear disaster at a Japanese plant. Something sprung a leak, and Ushi was the employee who had to go in and repair the damage before the situation got completely out of hand. He got such close nuclear exposure that his chromosomes melted, and needless to say, his whole body more or less fell apart. They kept him alive for 80-something days after the incident anyway to study the effects of close radiation on the human body. I'm not going to look it up again to fact-check myself, so pardon any holes in the account. In the grand scheme of things, the universe has basically just begun and will spend most of its life as a cold, dead, empty void. Female ducks regularly get gang raped by male ducks and duck penises are spiraled. You shit yourself when you die. I DK about you guys, but that bothers the hell out of me. John Wayne Gacy avidly admitted to murdering people and had 27 dead bodies in the crawl space of his house. The fact that Uranus can expand up to 8 inches, so hypothetically a raccoon can crawl up your butthole. There is no way to prove we aren't living in a simulation. More US states have laws about fucking your sister than have laws about fucking a corpse. Many companies will release a product knowing full well its nasty side effects and/or dangers, but simply gamble that no one will notice the connection between them and their product. In the pharmaceutical industry, there are even special trusts set aside in case a lawsuit comes forth. One of the most notorious recent or semi-recent examples is thalidomide. They were rejected 7 times by the FDA, and even after it became well known in Europe what kinds of things this drug could really do, they still tried to push it in American markets. As national ice cream sales go up, the rate of murder goes up. If you need help figuring out why, let me know. The word bone saw. Tapeworms can go into your brain. The fact that the extended torture, rape, and murder of Junko Furuta happened and how brutal it was. I really wish I could delete that from my brain. If you don't know about this crime, don't go looking it up. It's fucked. The giant moth is in my hallway. The last time a person was put to death by guillotine was in 1977. Everyone was disco dancing. The French were decapitating people. We have only explored 5 of our oceans, meaning that we know more about the surface of the moon than we do of our oceans. If you lick a bone, your tongue sticks. There's this human disease that's similar to mad cow disease called Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. It can be genetic, random, or eating meat that could be infected by mad cow disease. Good news? The onset is typically after you're 60, so you at least live a bit beforehand. Bad news? You don't know you have it until your brain starts to deteriorate and pretty much turns to sponge. You'll be dead within a year of diagnosis. Why do I wish I never knew about it? My great-uncle died from it. They don't know which type he had because it was a long time ago before they even thought about taking precautions to see if it could be genetic. However, it is autosomal dominant, so if no one in the family ends up getting it too, we're good. Fucking prions, dude. A human head remains conscious for around 20 seconds after being decapitated. Well, fuck. When a human body is cremated, breast implants melt down and leave a gelatinous goo on the bottom of the machine. As it turns out, the Cremation Association of North America is totally fine with scraping the goo up at the end of the process. There are Goliath bird-eating spiders. To be fair, spiders are my main phobia. The amount of people who have sucked someone else's cornea with a straw is larger than 0. In ancient India, there was a doctor that invented a treatment for some eye problem. The cornea was opaque, not letting light enter the eye, making the patient's vision dark in the eye. The solution was poking the eye with a straw and having an assistant suck out the cornea. Remember that this was done without morphine or other things, and the patient felt the straw stab the eye. After the procedure, patients reported blurry vision in the eye that suffered the procedure, but I guess blurry vision is better than no vision. Pigs are almost always bigger and meaner than you think. That butterflies, as beautiful as they are, have been known to drink human blood. Up until 1987 it was believed that small babies couldn't feel pain, and so until then surgeries were often performed on very small babies with no anesthetic. You have absolutely no way of being completely 100% sure you aren't dead, or that anything is real. The universe could be 10 minutes old and all your memories were implanted in your brain 10 minutes ago. Jeffrey Dahmer tried to make a living person who couldn't really move multiple times. His most successful attempt was on a 13-year-old boy. He drilled a hole into his head and inserted a large syringe used to inject meat with seasoning filled with a bleach substance and injected it into the frontal lobe of the kid. The kid was unconscious after, but he woke up in Dahmer's apartment alone, unable to speak, and was able to escape, and two ladies found him naked with a head injury. The police showed up, and so did Dahmer at the same time, and due to this being in the 60s and these two women being black and the child being Asian, the police let Dahmer take him back to his apartment. Dahmer said the kid was his drunk friend who had done this before, where he died an hour later. The kid looked older for his age. But the most fucked up thing is that this kid was the younger brother of one of Dahmer's previous victims who managed to get away, for it being long. That every time we go out, among others, there are likely a few psychopaths and a few killers present. If a meteor hit the earth, there is no way of stopping it. My dad didn't leave to go get cigarettes. During the Holocaust, the Jews brought to the gas chambers actually had no idea they were about to die until they started to choke to death. Every time when they were done and cleared all the bodies, they repainted the room to cover all the death notes people drew with their blood. Eventually, when there was too much volume, they stopped giving a shit and forced the people in a gassed them. So fucked. Ancient pillages and sieges usually meant mass rape. Pigs are cannibals, and they start at the butthole and work their way to the rest, and they get it all. The fact that my Astros cheated to win the World Series, and the fact that they were outed by a guy that has cheated twice to get a no-hitter. Mankind has enough nuclear warheads to point 3.4 warheads on every city with more than 100,000 citizens. 13,865 warheads. 4,037 cities, but good news, in 1986 we would be able to nuke all 4,037 with 17.4 nuclear warheads, making it a total of 70,300 nuclear warheads worldwide, over 90 of which owned by the US and Russia. Even better news, well, depends, only 3,750 out of the 13,865 nuclear warheads are active, so you have a 7 chance of not nuked immediately. Should we start nuking every city with more than 100,000 citizens with currently active nuclear warheads? It is not illegal to eat your pet in the US, including cats, dogs, because a law was never passed that if you do somehow go to jail for it. Let's not imagine what dog, cat, other loving inmates would do. That there exists a kind of brain-eating amoeba that lives in still fresh water, and if you swim in it, the amoeba can get inside your head and cause a brain infection that is about 95% fatal. I've actually seen images of water where they've put up signs saying not to swim in it because of this amoeba, but if you really want to, just don't put your head underwater and you'll probably be safe. Yeah, it'll just stay on dry land. Thank you very much. Laika the space dog. After placing Laika in the container and before closing the hatch, we kissed her nose and wished her bon voyage, knowing that she would not survive the flight. And also the killing of Tim McLean.
Hope you liked this video. Stay frosty, my rebels.